All right, let's do a quick speed round, Brett. A book or a TED Talk or an article that's had the biggest impact on you?
Actually, a TED Talk would be, and I know this, I'm not trying to sound vain, but my own TED Talk. I did a TEDx in Delaware. Okay. The reason I say this is it was based on resiliency. Now, I've gone through, a tremendous amount in the last 5 years. I had cancer in my neck in 2019, thought I was going to die. And I found out that the skin cancer, when I first found it, it's just skin cancer, no big deal, but it actually was near a lymph node. And they thought that it was going to travel throughout my entire body, which led me to, I didn't know what was going to happen with my life. So me doing that TED Talk or that TEDx talk enabled me to be able to prepare myself and be able to look at how resilient I needed to be during that period of my life. So I was able to go through and tell my story about all the things that I went through. I had a brother die in 2020, my oldest of 5 kids. I had a mentor die a year later. With my business, I run 2 different consulting agencies. Just one of my businesses, because of COVID, I saw a loss in revenue of $1 million in 2 years. So I had a tremendous amount of things that I could have, been, oh my goodness, I'm going to just shut down life. I wouldn't have a reason if I wanted to go down that road, but I said, no, I'm not going to, I'm going to go in a completely different direction. So I was able to take a lot of those components, and that $1 million loss in revenue did not kill me. My businesses are flourishing. They're doing better now than they were prior to COVID. Things are bouncing back. So my story, I take a lot of pride in being able to tell people I've gone through a tremendous amount of heartache, and I've had to build. This is why that gray right here that you're seeing in my beard, that literally came from 2019, 20, and 21.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're doing well and you're healthy. I'm sorry about your sibling. I'm a cancer survivor too, so maybe we'll have you back for another talk, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Best piece of wisdom you've ever received?
Best piece of wisdom I've received. It's a great question. I think if I were to look at all the wisdom that I've had, it's just really looking at being able to look at your day and look at the blessings that you have for that day and be cognizant of those blessings and not take those for granted. And to know that you only have like the now. I look at the future and I have all these plans. My daughter is 14, my son is 10. I see all these things, but I know right now that I have to live in this moment, and I have to impact people's lives to the best of my ability in the now, and not for what I can do tomorrow, because tomorrow may not come. I've learned that the hard way.
Yeah. Last question, finish this sentence. One thing everybody can do to tap into their own resilience is?
Self-awareness. I think that's the biggest piece. You have to know where you are, and you have to it's self-awareness and being able to detach yourself from your situation.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I have cancer. Okay, what do I do to help heal it, fix it? And then you start looking at, well, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a friend, I'm a son. There's all these things, but I'm not going to let this thing beat me. So it was really a big thing about detaching yourself from the situation, looking at it holistically and saying, how do I wrap my brain around the positive aspects so I'm not caught up in that mindset of just fear, failure, potential death.
Yeah. All right, good. Think community. This has been a great show. Brad, I really appreciate your time and your energy, your stories. I always like to extract a couple things from the show for the Think community. Think community, we talk a lot about AI, and Brett walked you through kind of a mini master's class of how he does what he does. We talk a lot about creating content, which is really, really important, because that's how you lead people. You bring value, you bring content, you give people access. But most importantly, Brett, what I'm taking from you also is just the power of resiliency.